Tell me when you think 30 seconds is up.
Now. Was I close?
Dream Lego set that you've yet to build.
Wow. To be honest, I have it right now. I just bought it a couple days ago. It's either the Titanic or the Millennium Falcon, and I bought both of them. It's like I went on like a Lego spree, but I'm probably about halfway done with the Titanic. It's about 9,000 pieces. I think it's technically the biggest Lego you can buy.
What's about the time that most of them take for you to complete?
If we're looking at like a couple thousand piece, probably like 3-4 hours. But this one, I'm probably like 8 hours in.
Okay.
What do you think the best T-pad is?
I think if you get a good concrete T-pad, I think they're actually hole 12 and hole 14 out here actually have like really deep grooves in the concrete, and I think they've literally been there forever, and they still are just the best grip. I mean, it's literally impossible to slip on them, I feel like.
Go-to pizza topping.
Just like ground beef.
Zombie apocalypse. You can bring 2 pros. Which 2 are you bringing?
I'll definitely go with Ezra because he's so strong. Ezra or Gavin, and then I gotta think of like someone that's smart. Oh gosh, maybe like Calvin, just because he has a nice college degree.
Top 3 putters in the game.
Andrew Marweed for sure, and then as of now, I will have to say myself just purely based off Circle 2 stats, and then it's kind of hard for a third one. I think it's kind of week to week, but I'm gonna go with Ricky. I think he's pretty consistently solid.
Your favorite disc golf memory?
Winning here last year. Hole 14, I hit like that death putt to kind of, I guess, put some fear in like the eyes of my competitors, and then Nicholas ended up missing that really short putt, which then I brought it back to 1 stroke with 4 holes to play, and then obviously the putt on 17 was huge from like 55 feet. A little bit of a death putt. Obviously you can roll away, and it's a re-putt if you miss, and you go a B. Or I think actually underrated shot was the second shot on 18. That hole is so difficult on the second shot because the way the run-up is super sloped, and then the OB, it's really hard to figure out. It's kind of like a weird corner you have to beat kind of by the basket. So that was I think probably one of the more clutch shots of the tournament for myself.
Are you better at disc golf or Rubik's Cubes?
Well, according to the field, I'd say disc golf, but I definitely want to be better at Rubik's Cubes if I can get the chance to.
How fast can you solve a Rubik's Cube?
My best recorded is like 18 seconds. That's with a cube that you can actually like have an app connected to it, and it tracks how many spins you do and stuff like that. So, but I'm consistently about 25 seconds is about my average. My mom used to do when she was little, and then I just grabbed her one, and I think the only reason I still do them today is because I was dropping my brother off at school with my mom actually when I was a kid, and I had some time, so I brought the cube with me, and I was trying to figure it out, and I was getting really frustrated, and I just rage quit, and I just started moving it randomly, and I solved it. And that's like so incredibly rare if you understand the Rubik's Cube, so got super lucky there. Yeah, I think that pushed me to like kind of be like, yeah, I can probably solve it if I figure it out.
If you could build a dream card, you get 1 pro, 1 celebrity, and 1 cartoon character.
I'll go with one of my friends. I'll go Alden as the pro. Cartoon, gotta be SpongeBob. And celebrity, I'll go with NF.
What's one skill you have that you think most pros lack?
The ability to like chop and force stuff over with really overstable discs and trust the fade. A lot of players still to this day like throw hyzer flips and get to kind of flip up and glide. And for myself, it's not even because like I think I'm like good at it and it's natural for me. I've just realized it's usually a much higher percentage because of the way like the conditions work. You have more wind and stuff. The overstable is always trying to get back to the edge. So with overstable, it depends. As long as you have the spectrum from, as long as it has a little bit of finish to it, a little bit of overstability to a crazy amount of overstability, you just have to play it based on how fast it comes out of the turn, basically. And where hyzer flips, I feel like is a little more specific. So if I'm throwing a flex, it's really easy to be like, okay, this is my like medium overstable. It'll come out of the flex at a medium speed. Maybe something crazy overstable will come out faster, and then something less overstable will kind of glide with the flex. And so I feel like it's a little more easy to calculate.
Is the hyzer flip the most overused shot on the Pro Tour?
Yes, by far. I think we see way too many players that are really good at disc golf that try to force hyzer flips, especially in like wind and stuff. When hyzer flips get really exaggerated with just a little bit of a bounce, if you think about it. you hyzer flip, you hit like a wind pocket headwind, not too far out of your hand, you get the nose over at all, and it's just going to glide right for literally forever. If you go overstable, the worst miss you can really have is just kind of stalling out, but usually the stall out doesn't happen until like the last like 50 feet of the flight, I feel like.
Most overrated course on tour.
I have two courses. I have the Beaver State Fling course. Well, I mean, kind of combined a little bit.
Okay.
I guess the one we played this year wasn't that great, but I think that property in general is really overrated. It's really pretty, but the courses actually aren't good at all. I feel like in terms of scoring, I'm definitely a scores guy. Like I don't really care how the course like looks or whatever. I just want to be like, hey, is it fair for everyone? Is it going to score well? Is it going to separate the field? And then definitely 100% the most overrated and my least favorite course on tour is D-Glow. I think the scoring separation is really terrible out there. It's just a lot of repetitive shots. I think it's the worst back nine we play on tour.
What gives you more stress, going into the USDGC as defending champion or about to take your driver's test?
Oh boy. I don't know. That's a tough question. I'm kind of scared I like might mess up like a parking in the driver's test or whatever. I got to take that when I get back home. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with the defending U.S. championship. I think that's a little more stressful.
You're coming up on a new contract. What are you looking for in a sponsor?
Yeah, just someone that will support me. Allow me to kind of like maybe design my own line of discs would be really important for me. I want to share. I want to share my thoughts with the world about how like I want like a disc for myself to fly or something like that. Just someone that's going to support me well and really get my marketing up there. That way I can market myself as a brand and a pro, and I can kind of build my game from there.
So if you were able to make a mold, what would you design?
I definitely want to go with something that everyone can throw, which is kind of like more like that really overstable approach disc, which is like an A2 what I'm throwing right now is a really good disc. So something like that. Obviously a putting putter is I feel like one of my strong suits, so maybe it's a really solid putting putter. Maybe just for myself would be just like a crazy overstable driver that still has a lot of glide. It's kind of hard to find those, but you can find them if you find the right ones. Honestly, my issue is it's not enforced. Like, it's not enforced, and it's not a thing where you can be specific. You can't, like with a foot fault, you can call like, hey, yeah, you literally missed your lie. I think also something stupid is like we can't use video evidence. That's really dumb. Like if someone had a foot fault. But like, yeah, if you foot fall, it's really obvious. Like maybe you stepped on your mini or something like that, or you missed it by a mile. Or like falling putts, super obvious, like just stuff like that. But like a rule like 30 seconds is, I've asked even PDGA officials, and they all have a different answer. They're like, oh yeah, it's when you grab your disc out of your bag. It's when you step up to your lie. It's when you mark your disc. And like if you guys as a PDGA can't have a specific answer for yourself, then like it shouldn't be such a big issue. And like if you just push it even back to a minute, it's not gonna change. Like no one's gonna purposely take a minute. Like no one's gonna, but it's those situations where you, like, I mean, I don't even know if people know. Not a lot of people know this story, but like last year on 17. About 15 seconds into my routine, a guy from the other side of the water yells 30 seconds at me, like my biggest putt of my life. But luckily I made it. Yeah. But like I was like, if 30 seconds wasn't a thing, I wouldn't have been razzed halfway through my putt, and I wasn't even at close to 30 seconds. It's like, I feel like that's a big issue. I feel like I wish they would just move it back to 45 seconds or a minute, because it's like, I don't know. I get if a card, I get like saying like, hey, telling a card like, hey, speed up as a card, because that does become an issue. But like, yeah, no one's purposely taking a crazy dumb amount of time.
How has your mindset changed coming into USDGC as defending champion?
This is like the first tournament really for myself that I felt like I could actually win. I kind of been building up to that win the entire year last year. I really look back and I'm like, it actually does play really well to my game, and probably the best we play all year. And I think that's why I was able to win last year, is because it played so well to my game. Obviously making putts is really important at every course. But I think out here, it's throwing the 400-foot mid-range shot. If you can, because it's landing soft. It's almost landing flat every time. So holes like hole 16, where some players are throwing fairway drivers, I'm throwing a mid. And I'm not getting that like kind of fluky late fade, or if you turn it too early, it kind of maybe will hold over into the hazard right. And so I'm throwing a mid-range, and if you miss your angle or just by a little bit, it's actually not going to be that bad. The course is pretty much the exact same as last year. I wish they would have changed a couple holes. I'm not a huge fan of hole 3, hole 2 even. Same reason I don't like a lot of the courses that some of the courses we play on tour. Just it's a hole that we're going to see a ton of pars on, and I think last year had like maybe 7 birdies, maybe 8 birdies, and yeah, you just didn't see that many like big numbers.
What's the closest basket you've played on to perfect?
I'd say either the Chainstar Pro or the Mach X are probably the most two fair ones we have right now. Yeah, because you don't see as many. I know at least with like the disc catchers, they're really solid all around, except for I see a lot of people hit the pole and come out. I think they could use like 3 more chains, and then it would be the perfect basket around the pole. I think every basket needs that around the pole. I need like just a good 10 thick chains around, like, I don't know, probably an inch and a half off the pole, so that pole putts don't spit out. Because obviously, yeah, there are putts that are too hard, but then you have putts a lot of times. We saw idle out a lot, like a lot of spit outs on, just thin chain baskets that only have 2 rings. But I'd say definitely, Chainstar Pro or Mach X.
Would you like to see the Pro Tour have one standardized basket from every course we go to?
Yeah, I like to see them have a standardized basket and also a standardized tee pad. So honestly, I wouldn't care if you have good enough turf, then that's fine. I just want to have consistent conditions on every single course we play, because a lot of courses where I know Idlewild specifically is like, if that course gets rainy, it's actually very unsafe on the tee pads. They get like real mossy. They're slick after many years of use. They're really just a safety hazard, and it kind of takes away from the fun, at least for a pro, and not being able to trust your shots, and you're really just scared about slipping, it feels like.
Do you remember when you decided to leave the other traditional sports you played, and what was it like at a young age to go all in on disc golf?
So I played baseball and basketball pretty heavily growing up. Disc golf was also in between, but I played disc golf probably for fun, but I had my baseball and basketball practices a lot of the times. And I was a really good pitcher growing up for baseball, and I was a good like 3-point shooter for basketball. And I can't do it. Yeah, he's always trolling me. So yeah, I was a good 3-point shooter in basketball, a good pitcher in baseball. I kind of decided for baseball, like I wasn't like super interested in it. It was pretty fun to play. It was like really boring to watch, I know. I took like a half a season off when my team was still playing. And they invited me back for one game, and I was like swinging through on a pitch, and I got hit in the wrist, my left wrist, really hard, and I almost got hurt really bad. And it really just kind of scared me. I'm like, I think disc golf I enjoy a little bit more, and I just don't really feel like getting hurt or being scared. Obviously, I'm still a super skinny guy, so the pitches hurt really bad because I don't have anything to protect me. And basketball was kind of, I was like really pretty good early on, but then as like players or like kids started to actually practice, I kind of still played for fun, where I guess it kind of works in disc golf the same way. Disc golf, I started to actually practice, and I started to get better than people. Where in basketball, I kind of just played for fun, and then everyone else got better around me. 12 to 13, maybe 14. I hit 1,000 rated when I was like 14 in a couple months, and that was like the record for being youngest 1,000 rated. I'm like, even though 1,000 rated isn't, it's a great accomplishment, but it actually means nothing in terms of like of being a touring pro. You can't really beat 1,000 rated and be a touring pro and have a chance to win tournaments. So I kind of took it as a step, though, as a timeline, is if I'm already here at the youngest 1,000 rated player, if I just continue for a couple more years and I do keep improving, then I can, I'm like be where I'm at now. I'm really happy with where I'm at now in terms of like kind of what I saw it as growing up. To be like top 5 rated in the world, top 5 ranked in the world at this age is really incredible. It kind of happened quick, but at the same time, I feel like I've been on tour for a while.
I think 14 at the time,
Yep.
and you were just on Instagram Live or whatever, just putting in your basement over
Yep.
and over and over.
Yep.
And that was when I was like, all right, he's going to be someone, if his work ethic is just putting in the basement from 30 feet and just drains them, he's going to be someone huge on
Nice.
tour. And
Yeah.
turned out.
I literally couldn't do anything for like, I couldn't walk for 2 months, and that was like my only source of like therapy, I guess you could say, is repping out putts. I was like, if I'm going to be injured and I can't throw, I might as well just try to get my putting in the right space.
So I'm going to ask you quick putting questions, and all you have to give me is yes or no. Should we make the basket smaller?
No.
Should we move circle 2 back?
No.
Should we ban step putting?
Yeah. It's like where can you like follow through? I guess if you're inside circle 2, then yeah. I think if you're inside circle 2, then you shouldn't be able to step putt, because everyone can throw a disc 60 feet either way. That's why we're on tour. So I mean, I've step putted myself. I might even step putt this week, but we don't need to do it. So I don't think there's any reason to have it.
What's been the most memorable moment of your career besides the USDGC champ?
I think winning the Des Moines Challenge in my hometown was really cool, and of course I like helped design and have the hometown crowd on my back the whole time. That was pretty cool. Winning Masters Cup last year was my first like tour win. I know it was a Silver Series, but it's still a big accomplishment for me at the time. Maybe even like my breakout at Vegas last year was really important. I feel like for just showing myself that I can do it, or maybe making lead card at Waco when I was 15 in 2021.
Or where's your dream world's location?
I think what we had this year at Smugs that's about as good as you can get, as fair as you can get, and as good diversity. You have the woods and the open. It's just such a good mix of the property. And I think just in terms of this, like where it's at, it's not great for like I mean, there's not like a ton of like big towns around it, so there's not like a ton of lodging for spectators or something like that, and it's pretty expensive. But I mean, as a player, it's so fun because you have those like we have our swim hole we went to every day after the rounds. We had all these like fun things we could do. You know, you have that pizza place you always go to, or just something like that. Like a lot of kind of said like a different feel to it. I really enjoyed that.
Do you still not go in the water for discs?
No, not
Why?
really.
What's
No.
up with that?
It's not worth it. I don't.
What does that even mean?
Don't
So
care.
like you throwing like a Bowling Green D3 in there, you're not even going in.
It depends how gone it is. If it's like
Okay.
30 feet out, then there's like no chance. If it's like 10 feet out, I might. I think I went in the water at Jonesboro, but it was
Okay.
the whole pond was only to like my upper thigh, so I didn't get wet. I just don't like having wet clothes. It's like the worst thing ever. Some body-eating amoeba just destroy me.
What's your plan for the future of your career?
I want to stay healthy, that way I can just, not get injured and I can play this game for as long as possible. Obviously, outside of playing, disc designing or course designing would be really cool. Maybe working for a company or making my own company. Follow me on Instagram at Gannon Buhr. I have some YouTube videos. They're not good, but if you want something to watch, maybe check those out. That's pretty much it. Thanks to all my sponsors. You guys are amazing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more tournaments soon.